And we're live. Woo!
Woo! We're alive.
We're alive.
Well,
We,
maybe.
I think we managed to make 2 streams in a row, right?
We have. It's life has been generous.
Thanks to yours truly. I think we've gotten the last 3 weeks. Because I scored the Lonely Man in 324, and then we worked
So you
together.
had the solo episode.
No. Oh, the solo episode was fun. It was a good time.
It was definitely an interesting take and difference in what we usually do.
Yeah. Well, I just had to talk and talk and talk until until I ran out of things to talk about.
Just pass out.
No. The worst part.
Right.
The worst part is the game didn't work. The whole thing came tumbling down.
Oh man. Oh man.
Nah, it's a great time.
Love to see it.
Yeah, right? It's perfect. It's perfect.
As always.
Exactly.
But anyway, hello wonderful people. Welcome to our usual rambling start.
Yep. We've thrown scheduling entirely out the window, and we just talk to the non-existent camera.
Who needs a schedule?
Potato. Yeah, rambles. Well, it's just how we do here.
This is how we do.
We're about to make a name for ourselves here.
That needs to become a soundboard clip.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be on our server. For anybody who doesn't know or doesn't follow superhero culture, just do yourself a favor and go see the new Deadpool movie. I don't think you even need to be a fan of superheroes to just find it hilarious.
If you feel like laughing for like 2 hours, go see it.
It's worth it. That said, we should probably jump at least somewhat into our content for the week.
Probably, it's usually a good idea. And hey, look, now we're at 7, so now we can officially start.
Hey, there we go. We can actually start talking about stuff. Oh my goodness, it's astonishing. We can talk about things.
Wow!
So, this week, we're not going into the PTU. It's still there. It's actually open to all, so others can mess around with it if they feel the need. They had a pretty nasty bug last night that they hoped that they got fixed, but
they're pretty quick to get things resolved with it. So
we also don't want to throw another stream at you guys where we spend 45 minutes sitting looking at my menu screen because the game doesn't work.
We love it when the game works.
I told you guys were getting a entirely unedited approach to the new patch, and oh boy. So, let's just see if there's any news I have forgotten, because I do that. I forget news.
Yeah, that happens here.
This is a thing that we do.
I think a lot of it really is just PTU tracking. Things have opened up to everyone. It seems like they're kind of on the back end of things.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Another very nice thing that we've seen is that the CitizenCon tickets went incredibly fast. So that means good things.
They were saying last year, if you were going to make a CitizenCon, this was the one.
Exactly.
So they're, no, even though sadly can't be there, I'm hoping it's a good one.
Exactly. Well, and we got our social behavior video last week.
No, the social behavior was this week. That was
this week. Sorry, I'm mixing up the ISC and...
You're not old enough to have brain problems.
The thing. But we'll pull it up on the stream. We did get another glimpse at the Zeus, so we'll pop that up.
That is one of my most anticipated ships. Oh, look at her!
So
Look at her!
there's I think the best view of the Zeus that we've seen so far.
It honestly looks great.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I like that the wingtips like really raise in landed position.
Mm-hmm.
Also potatoes typing in our chat. You can finish what you were gonna say though, and I'll transition.
I was saying, I know it's not the usual style of ships in the game, but I really like the design of the Zeus. It looks super cool.
Yeah, we'll zoom that back out so that you guys can see some pixels. Yeah, so Potato, what you missed was this week's ISC, in which they described basically how social interaction between players and NPCs and like landing zones and things are going to work within Pyro. I think the biggest takeaway is that while Pyro is going to be a lawless system, CIG has already attempted and like made pretty good strides in keeping Pyro. I don't want to call it lawful, but people that want to go there just to grief are going to. Yeah, civil's the word. People that want to grief are not going to enjoy Pyro as much as they think they are.
And
which is
the thing,
good and bad.
One of the things I really like that Stan is missing is that frontier feeling where it's like, guess what? You can just whip out your pistol and shoot the guy in front of you. But guess what? That was John. That was everyone's favorite guy in the town. You're gonna get shot.
Yeah, everybody liked John. If you shoot at John, or like, God forbid you're shooting at a gang member in gang territory, it's not going to be like Stanton where you shoot at a gang member and they do nothing. You essentially can bring down, I think we have 4 factions in Pyro. You can essentially bring each of the 4 factions down on top of you at once, whereas like Crusader, you're only having to worry about one overarching security force that can only mobilize so much. Like, if you have 4 gangs coming after you at once, that's going to be not pleasant.
It's funny because while there's no criminal consequence to your actions, there's still consequences.
Yeah. You're not going to get a crime stat, but, like, getting a crime stat won't matter. No. Well, and, like, the gangs, I think... I can't remember if it was Disco or somebody else that said it on one of the ISCs. But essentially the gangs don't have an ROE. Like, there's no ROE on the gangs.
Yeah.
Like, if you're fucked up.
What happens.
Yeah, if you're fucking up, it's going to be bang, and it's over. And I think that other side... Actually, go ahead, Ingvars.
I would say, there is one thing I was thinking about that's incredibly positive to all this as well. Because they mentioned landing spaces in this. There is no... You have to remember, Pyro is literally just, like, rule. There is no government, there is no nothing. When you go to land at these sites, you just land on a landing pad. You just go find a spot. Now, that being said, we know the biggest problem in Stanton. There's 22 idiots parking above the same spot, and it gets filled. Guess what? With it being lawless there, I can already see people are going to drag ships away and salvage them for leaving your ship unattended.
Yep. If you're in a spot where you should not be, somebody most likely will come in and, like, they will just remove you from said place.
Which, in all honesty... totally excited about that. I was like, oh, that's gonna be great.
Yep. And Stanton discourages vigilantism, but Pyro obviously doesn't, because as long as you are not acting against the gang that controls the area, like if you are here and your target is in the next room and your target is not a member of this gang, he's just a civilian, like, collecting I don't know, sandwiches. He's cramming a box full of hot dogs. None of the gang members in that room are going to care if you just walk up, give the guy a good shanking, and walk out. Like, oh, Johnny Nobody's crumpled up in the corner, but nobody's going to care.
Well, it's going to be that, hey, who's the asshole that took up 2 parking spots? You shoot him, and then you go call your buddy and say, hey, you want to salvage a ship?
Yeah, like you double park like an asshole. You're probably not coming back to a car that hasn't been, or a car. You're probably not coming back to a ship that hasn't been shot at. It's like if you double park out in rural areas.
I was gonna say, everyone. What was the one ship that you could tow other ships with now?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, everyone kept saying it has no use. Pyro was going to be its use.
No, because you just grab it and fucking pull things out of the way.
Yep.
And just scoop other ships.
No, your ship isn't going to sit there and go, guess what? Infraction.
Well, additionally, actually, knowing that we've got Potato as a viewer currently, he'll like hearing this. As a person who likes to salvage to get your Cambria light containers and repair, there are junkyards in Pyro that are gang controlled, and in those junkyards there will be like actual ship scrap that you can go and get without having to bastardize a player ship or anything.
Oh, there we go.
So you can actually do jobs for the junkyards as well. Like if they need something salvaged down, you can go in, salvage it, walk away with a chunk of change.
Now this is the funniest part, because I'm going to add to this. Well, Pyro sounds like it's the most, rootin', tootin', cowboy shootin'est place in the game. Guess what? A lot of the missions there are actually not combat oriented, or that not necessarily that there's no combat missions. There's just a lot of other missions.
I think the best way to describe it is CIG has put a huge focus in Pyro on upkeep of the world that you live in.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's huge because in Pyro that makes sense. You upkeep, as a player, you upkeep the environment you're in. And that's what every resident of Pyro does. But the reason you don't do that in Stanton is like, well, ArtCorp, Microtech, even Hurston, they still employ their janitors. You're not on the fringes because everybody goes home to a nice, like, okay. If you've seen the Drake beds, they're not nice beds. But everybody goes home to a bed, and they know that, like, down the hallway from them, there's a camera linked to a security system, and if somebody tries to break in, a guy with a gun comes to the door, knocks, and says, alright, you valued this guy's stuff more than your own life. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
But you don't have that in Pyro. Nobody's keeping the law. If the gangs are angry, the gangs are angry. But they're not going to be dealing with, like, petty civil disputes. If somebody's knocking on your door and you're not, like, heavily gang affiliated, they're not going to care.
It's kind of great how they have things set up. Is it's really a, the best way I guess to put it is the consequences of your actions kind of scenario.
Yeah, and there's not, like, aside from the obvious big no-nos, there's not written rules. Certain gangs may be okay with certain things that other gangs are not okay with.
Mm-hmm. It's, I don't know. I think it's great to finally have somewhere where, you accidentally sneeze and then all of a sudden guards are on you and you're wondering what happened.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because if you in theory, if you desk popped in Stanton, you'd be tracked down by the police. They'd take your gun, throw you in jail. Like you fired off a gun in a civilian population.
Or players, you commit one crime and it's like, guess what? About 100 player population is coming for you.
Yeah, like they're cleaning up this system. But in Pyro, I think like if you walk through a settlement, desk pop, and then like keep walking, I think you'd be fine.
Yeah,
Unless you
it's
desk pop someone's dog, like I don't think there's gonna be an issue.
and it's to me in the aspect it's really really cool because it does come down to player interaction now more so than the game saying, "Oh, you can't do this here."
Yeah. No, no, no. Uh, Herbeck. 4.0 Evocati is a possibility for this week. Depends entirely on how quickly 324 gets released. I think they will probably just like, from a burnout perspective, the devs will likely take at least a week before going in Evocati with something else. Um, just because like these guys need to sleep.
Yeah,
I say I don't know what you think, Icarus, but I doubt it'll be next week.
I was if they did, I would be incredibly surprised.
Yeah, because they need to be on it soon, but they do need some like downtime, and especially like I think CIG has been much better about it in the last couple patches. They give themselves a window of like, oh shit time. If a patch comes out and something is really, really wrong when it goes to live, it's all guns point that issue for the next week. At least that's what it seems like.
Yeah.
Um, I guess on that we showed the Zeus picture. We talked about the social behavior. I have not watched Friday's stream about the. Oh, thank you for the follow, Sponges. Um, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I have not watched the contested zones and asteroid bases video, but from what I've
okay.
heard, it's
Okay.
good.
Okay, yeah, no. It's okay. I was really excited to see and hear the stuff on it because the best way to put it is imagine how we like envisioned the Division Dark Zone is actually what we're getting in this.
Yes.
So you go in and the other thing is there's actual rewards and risk levels going inside of these things,
Oh, okay.
which
Yeah,
is
because
really
I didn't
cool.
know.
So that the outside is going to be the easiest point. You push in is going to get harder and harder and harder. But when you get into these points, the whole thing is there's going to be like ship parts for you to take. And in Pyro, those are going to be a lot more rare. And they already talked about how they're making changes to ship components. They're going to be doing things with them where, guess what they actually are, military grade, civilian, stuff that are actually going to matter. So
Hmm.
getting these and moving them out is going to be important. And one of the big things they said is like, hey, you fight your way in. They're going to have ways to get it outside, like, via freight elevators and stuff inside the asteroid bases.
Hmm. Okay, so it is going
So
to be pretty in depth and almost raid like by the sounds of it.
yeah, and there's going to be equipment boxes and other things for you to check out and loot. And they're talking about putting in. It sounds like new stuff that could only be found by doing that.
Okay, so like definitely seeming like a cool thing then.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I'm all for that. That sounds awesome.
Um, I guess our next piece of information, I'm gonna jump ahead and then we can jump back just
Mm.
to make this make more sense because I do want to go like kind of in chronological order, but our next big topic is Ship Showdown, and I want to get through the sneak peek separately. So
Oh
I'll
yeah, no, that's
pull
fair.
it up. So here's the sneak peek on screen now. In our Discord, we've been having some conversation back and forth about what we think this is. We, as a community, have, I was gonna say convinced ourselves, but we've agreed that it is most definitely Misk, which like I honestly, I don't think that would be a surprise to anybody based on
No,
like shaping.
it would not be a surprise at all.
Um, I know I'm gonna ruffle some feathers here. I still think that there's a very good chance that whatever we're seeing here could be Mirai.
Yeah.
There's just enough exposed stuff on the outside, just enough that it's like, okay, this could be performancy. Because like if you look at the Starfarer, you look at the Hull C, you look at the Hull A, it feels very
Look,
clean.
I got some trust issues here ever since the Raptor.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, Misk, you gotta stop with that.
So I'm having some trust issues with them here this time. What's this one gonna be? You know, a floor sweeper?
Yeah, right. No, and like Sponge just said in our chat, Misk medium ship, maybe explorer or a fighter from Misk, and like I think both of those are plausible. Um, we will have to see, but I don't think that this is a ship that is coming in game. I don't think it's gonna be a hot drop because I know we already have a saber
No.
that's gonna be an instant drop.
I said we have. There's so many ships coming as well here that this is. I hate to say it. This is probably gonna be a backlogged.
I have a feeling that this is concept, but that also does look rendered for in game. So whether or not we get two ships at launch of like this next patch, that would be very interesting. I think keep an eye out for this Thursday and this Friday because they may give us a little bit more info.
And here's the funny thing, though. I can see this both being good and backfiring on them at the same time.
Yes, yeah, this could be one of those concepts that never amounts to anything.
Because it's like, hey, cool, we got a new ship, but what about all the ships that people have been asking for like the past few years?
Also, Sponge, the 4.0 Zeus Mark II, it is actually it's the Explorer and the cargo one. The military one is the one that is not coming out.
Yep.
So lucky you, the exploration one is actually the first one to come.
Yeah. Yeah, Exploration will be the very first one to come out.
Mm-hmm. So keep an eye out for that one because that'll be a very good one.
All you explorer people are getting something finally.
Stepping into another topic as I fumble around on my screen here. Here's our next topic is Ship Showdown. It was kind of what we were expecting to do for most of the show today. But obviously big news.
This is gonna be a bit. It's good you left it because this is gonna be a topic.
Yes. Also, for anybody who is wondering, I doubt many of our viewers currently are in the market for an 890 jump, but because they are sale limited, hull limited, they are being restocked. We've been through 1, 2, 3, 4 restocks already, and there's 2 more coming. One at 8 in about 40 minutes if people are looking for an 890, and then one at 4 a.m. EST tomorrow. Did I pressed a button.
You indeed pressed a button.
I indeed pressed a button.
I'm proud of you.
Haha. So yes, if you guys are looking for an 890, I'm not sure if anybody like fits the bill of that in our group right now. But it's there.
Just in case.
Just in case. I think then that leaves us right into the big part of our episode today, the Ship Showdown.
Oh yeah, no, this is it's funny. A few of these are really a no contest, and others are like it could be interesting.
Yep. So I think because we've been through a couple already, we might as well get into the overview. And then we can scroll back up to today's once we get to that point. So our first I guess matchup was the freighter division, the C1 Spirit versus the Mercury. I'm actually a little surprised by this one.
Yeah, I was too.
I was admittedly not expecting the C1 to take over from the Mercury, because the Mercury is an objectively more useful ship, but the C1 Spirit is an objectively more user friendly ship, which is it's an interesting comparison.
Yep. I mean, look at the end of the day, and I sit here and look at the C1. I really love the Spirit series. I do. They're really cool ships. However, if you're looking at utility and functionality between the two, to me it's not even close. The
I'm trying to find
C1 just
the
doesn't.
numbers. Oh, here we go. Down the bottom. Sorry. Go ahead.
Also, to me, the C1 doesn't even compare.
Yeah. No, I'm genuinely shocked that the C1 did as well as it ended up doing. But like looking at the votes, it slaughtered.
This is opinion. Objectively, I think the C1 is kind of useless.
I do think it's a more expensive cutlass, and that's an unfortunate place to put it. I think it fits. I think it fits where it is right now.
There's the cutlass, and again the MSR. The MSR could actually fit ground vehicles into it as well.
I think the biggest thing that loses the C1 for me is the fact that they have arbitrarily added walls that make it so that 16 SCU cargo boxes and especially ground vehicles, you can't fit in there, even though the space is big enough.
If it could fit those, I would have no problem saying the C1's great. But it's literally just a medium cargo ship, if that.
No. I would have voted Mercury. Actually, did I vote Mercury? No, I voted C1 because I'm a sheep apparently.
You're disgusting.
But the C1 slaughtered. I think I voted C1 because I want a paint for the A1. If I'm remembering my logic correctly.
That's fair. That's fair.
Which admittedly, like, the C1 is just not useful in the size class that I have it in. And that's me specifically, like, with my fleet as my fleet. Mm-hmm. I know for others, like, if it's your only ship, it sits in that same spot as the Cutlass. Like, it is one of the perfect, I guess, tier 2 starters.
And again, it's down to objectivity as well. Some people may not give two craps if it can load a ground vehicle or not. When I look at a ship like that, I want it to be able to load at least some things to bring it out to bases.
Yeah, like, I think it lost a perfect opportunity to be an amazing little transport for ground vehicles and things, because it's got a big bay in it, and it's fast. And, like, it looks really cool.
It sounds good, too. Like, it's a very cool ship, but it falls short in overall functionality compared to others in its size class.
But it's very, very obviously a huge, huge, huge ship as far as popularity goes. Like, it's giant. 100%. Because the Mercury used to be one of, like, the ships.
And actually, no, that's something else. I just realized the C1 would be better if they had the motorcycles out as well. Those would fit in it perfectly.
Yep, I would agree. I think the C1 is a victim of the current state of the game.
It's perfect. Exactly.
Like, I think that is the best spot to put it, as a victim of the current version of the game. Its tractor beam is not the most usable. It should have gotten an update to its tractor beam when the Cutlass did.
Yeah.
The stupid flaps need to go away. I know the Cutlass can't carry an Ursa either, but it pisses me off that I could fit an Ursa in the C1.
You could still fit, oh god, what are they? You could still fit like one of the Jeeps in it.
Yep. No, it's it's the whole like, yeah, it's the whole, the ship could do it, but it was designed to not do something.
Also,
Whereas the MSR is the opposite. It shouldn't be able to do X, Y, Z, but like I've seen people jam the front end of a ballista in there.
also, I absolutely love the chat. I have no fault in this conversation whatsoever. You're apparently the pilled one.
Wow. Firing back.
There is zero blame on me whatsoever. This is wonderful.
Jesus. So that one, once again, it sounds like for you as well, was a bit of a surprise. I would have thought the MSR, being from the popularity it has been from and the usefulness, I thought it was going to put up a better fight. I thought this was going to be a lot closer.
I did too.
I'm not shocked that the C1 won it, because again, I could take either of them and like be objectively happy.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the way I expected it to go.
Yeah.
Are we ready for our next one?
Oh,
the Road
there's
Warrior?
a next one? I didn't realize this was even a competition on this one.
Yeah. I don't think this one counts as a competition at all.
Yeah, so, no, this when they put that down, I feel like they should have chuckled a little bit, because they're like, we already know.
So, just for like posterity's sake, and for anybody that can't see or is just listening to our stream, the Ursa Medevac beat the STV by 4 times. 20,000 votes to 4,000.
Yep. Absolute slaughter. With how good the Ursa Medevac is, it's unfair to put any vehicle against it.
There are no other ground vehicles in the current state of the game that are nearly as useful. Like, there is... I genuinely would bet people to try and find a more useful ground vehicle.
The C8R would have been a better rival.
Yeah. And it got shoehorned into this ground vehicle spot.
The STV got beat up, mugged, took its money, and thrown down a flight of stairs.
Yeah. Mutilated.
Not even close. And the thing, I can't even blame anyone. The Nursa is great.
Nope. I voted Nursa.
I did too. It's a top. It is as far as I'm concerned, as category, it's an S tier vehicle.
Yep.
Like it, you can't go wrong. Not owning one is like a crime.
Nope.
Even if you can't fit in anything, you should still have one.
One as another example, and I'm gonna just jump back to the C1 and the Ursa. That was another thing for me that like we said with the Ursa not fitting in the C1. I can't get over that these are two like objectively very, very good ships. But the one has been shoehorned to not take the other. They're two amazing tools.
I'm genuinely upset the C1 cannot handle it.
Yeah. Oh, that got a good laugh out of me. Potato's response got a good laugh out of me. That's hilarious. Oh man.
It should really have overtaken that spot where it can fit ground vehicles.
And that's why the C1 is hard for me in this competition. Because it's so close to greatness, but so far.
Yeah. No, when it comes to ships, I'm very big into utility. Like, I enjoy ships that are good at one thing and they are amazing at it. But the C1 falls in that area of, the MSR, the Cutlass Black, Like it's a multi-role ship. I think it should be able to handle most things. Now, I guess you could say it can easily fit an STV. But let's be real. Look at the vote here. It speaks for itself.
The STV is being reduced to a hangar runabout, which is fine because it's perfect for that.
It's gonna be your hangar daily driver.
But the STV being just a little hangar runabout is nowhere near, obviously, having a mobile respawn point anywhere.
Mm-hmm. And even just medical out in the field after a mission.
Yeah.
Or even, a rescue vehicle for missions if you're going to go do medical or anything, really.
It's perfect. And
it is.
I think this is the best spot for predictions on round 2, at least for this bracket.
Mm-hmm.
I know in our chat people are thinking that the C1 Spirit will take the Ursa medevac.
I think Nursa.
I genuinely think the Nurse is making it to the semis.
I do too. Look, again, there's nothing wrong with the C1. It is a good ship. It just has some components I wish were changed. The Nursa is objectively perfect.
Yep.
Like it does what it needs to. It can defend itself. It has a medical bed. It has storage. It has a weapon rack.
Yep. I think very clearly the Nursa. I would like to guess the Nursa is pushing up past the C1.
I think it's the better option. I know it's a ground vehicle, but I still think it's a better option.
I think the take that most normal people will not have a ship that can fit the Ursa is, on paper, that should be correct, but our community is so ridiculously whale heavy that I think the amount of people who have a Constellation or higher is way skewed.
Yep, Constellation, Corsair, it tells 600 eyes.
Yeah, those ships, those multi-crew ships are very, very quickly upgraded into. I know myself, I had a Connie within the first year of playing the game.
Harbeck has a good point as well. Most normal people don't vote in the ship showdown, so people who have spent money are going to be voting.
Yep. People who probably have something to carry the Nursa will be voting more.
So it's okay, your vote doesn't count.
And as we sail into the Pathfinder bracket, Potato, as somebody who is not part of the average voter community, you can just ignore this one if you want. We'll scroll back up because this one's happening live.
Mm-hmm.
So 16 hours left, and it is the 890, the ship that has been taken out multiple times by, I think, one time by the Cutter and one time by the Dragonfly. Which is depressing.
Yeah.
It is finally, for the first time, up against a worthy rival, or at least a ship that it wouldn't be winning specifically for the meme vote. And unfortunately, the ship it went up against is one of the few, actually, I think it might be one of the only ships that is a multiple year finalist.
600 eye is just kind of a flat out, it appears it wins. Quite a bit.
I don't think any other, I think the Carrack is the only other, oh, I guess the Cutlass, the Carrack, the Cutlass, but the pedigree of the ships that have won paints multiple times Like, that is reserved for the highest favorites of the community. And if the 890 is to get executed in 16 hours, taking out the back and Old Yellard, I am glad it's by a champion and not by a mule.
I mean, look, being real here, I mean, man, you, this bad boy will take you for miles. You sold me on the 600i.
Oh, yeah.
It's a wonderful ship. I can't even argue it.
And this is the thing. It deserves, like, if it wins today, it deserves it.
I know there's so many people that are, 600i, bad meme. I'm sorry. It's not. It literally does everything you need.
The most interesting part about this is the 600i is communally, it is the underdog in this vote, but it very clearly is taking the lead, and it's taking the lead by storm. Like, communities that would normally vote anti-890 have flipped to the 890 vote, and it still can't slow the 600i down.
Yep. I mean, guess what? One, it could fit a Nursa.
Yep.
Already good thing. Two, it's pretty easy to handle by yourself. You don't really need a crew on it. But three, if you want a multi-crew ship and you want to bring people around, it's perfect.
Yep. And it's got a rework coming that's been planned that, beyond just being planned, is an incredibly strong rework to what is already an incredibly strong ship.
Yep.
And I agree 100%. I had this conversation with somebody else, I don't remember, but I agree 100% with what Sponge said in our stream chat. They should have waited on the 890 development and focused on capital gameplay before putting it out.
Yep.
Because it is just a large ship. When you use the ship in game, it feels the same as a Carrack, which it shouldn't. And the Polaris, theoretically, is not going to feel like a Carrack. It is going to feel like a capital ship, showing that the 890 is not ready to be a capital ship yet.
Yeah. No, it's a shame. I know there's a lot of people for some reason that hate the 890 jump, and I'm gonna be real. It's actually one of the first ships I ever interacted with because of the boarding missions, and because I think it's a cool ship. I really do.
Oh, and it's incredibly pretty. Like, there's very little you can say other than, like, I don't have one. Why?
Yeah.
That, like, will stick. Because the ship is incredible. And it's deserving, again, it's deserving of a paint. It really does deserve a paint.
It does. Again, I'm glad to see it has a worthy opponent, but it's an opponent that's going to smack it down.
Yes, like, that's the biggest one this year, is, oh my goodness, the 890 is up against a ship that, like, reasonably should be able to beat it, or, like, at least compete with it. And it doesn't go 1,000 votes down in the first 15 minutes to a Dragonfly.
Yeah.
So, realistically, I'm happy at the end of this year, even if it doesn't win.
And I'm going to be real. I do not own an 890 jump. I have no interest in one. But I would absolutely love to see it get some overhaul where it becomes this really amazing thing to have, even if it's purely for luxury.
Mm-hmm.
It would just be great. It would be a good, like, haha, I have one.
I think, like, realistically, once the 600i rework comes out, they're going to need to hit the brakes, throw it in reverse, and go back to the 890 and take what they learned to make the 890 better. Because, like, it's not ready to be the ship that it was marketed as. But based on the 600i concept, somebody at CIG is finally ready to make that pipe dream a reality.
Exactly.
So that's today's matchup. 16 hours left to get your votes in. Normally, I would kind of push my position here, use my platform, but realistically, I think vote with whatever your heart says on this one. Both of the ships deserve to be here for their own reasons. And if the 600i takes it, it just goes to show that the 600i is like beyond phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then so that we can get through the rest of the brackets here, the brackets that haven't happened yet. So we're completely going in the blind here, and that means we can go through a little quicker.
Indeed.
I guess the next one is the underdog, and this is, as opposed to 2 origin ships, this is 2 anvil ships, and this is 2 anvil ships that do not have paints yet,
which is even weirder.
Mm-hmm. Now, I think really, really quite quickly here, the Gladiator is off the table. I know a lot of people are like, Gladiator's so cool, and I think the Gladiator is an amazing looking ship.
Mm-hmm.
But the amount of times the Terrapin has gotten so close, I think the community is going to be feral over the Terrapin.
And to me, I kind of want the Gladiator win. I don't own one, I don't have one, but there's so much love for it that I would love to see it win. But it's also the same side for the Terrapin.
Yep. Oh, both of them getting on this list as the underdogs. That is a huge, huge bonus. The Gladiator and the Terrapin both. Well, I would even say, Herbeck, that both of them are community darlings at this point. They're both incredibly well sought after ships that are like small. They're not ridiculously expensive, and they both, when used correctly, can they can do a job. The Terrapin's a phenomenal little runabout, and the Gladiator is a surprisingly good bomber.
Mm-hmm. No, I have nothing bad to say about either of them. They're both phenomenal ships.
No, and I am backing the Terrapin this year because I think the amount of times it's gotten close, again, the community is going to be feral over it.
Oh,
but that doesn't mean if the Gladiator wins that I am not going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that, in theory, because I don't think the 890's pulling 400 votes within the next 16 hours, but I think it will be most likely Terrapin versus 600i Explorer, and I think that's going to be a closer fight than we were expecting.
Yeah.
I still think the 600i is going to slosh right through, whether it's Terrapin or Gladiator, but
yes.
But it'll be an interesting battle.
Yeah.
Next bracket, and this one's where we get completely in the blind. We don't even have half of the bracket, or like a guess on half the bracket. We've got Speed Demons, the M50 versus Fury LX. I have some, not insider information, but I have some wider community information that I've we'll say think tanked. So I want to know what you think before I say what I'm going to say.
I'm going to be honest. The Fury was a hype buy for a lot of people. I don't see Furies ever.
No.
Anywhere. I think the M50 is going to win.
Yep, and with that, I was going to say I agree. While the Fury LX was a hype buy for more people, the M50 is currently the racing meta, and all of the racing communities that I've seen are intending to attempt, at least, to push the M50 all the way to at least the finals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the M50, because I think the Fury's out. I think it's going to be a slaughter. I don't think the M50 can take on the Reclaimed.
I'm going to be 100% with you. I've never seen a Fury.
No.
I've never seen a single Fury in game used anywhere. And I know people are like, oh, we could pack them in and blah. That's cool. How many people do you know want to load up a ship with a bunch of Furies
No.
and go fly them at? Like,
with the new hangars, maybe, but like, yeah, it's not going to be a thing.
yeah, no, I think the M50 is going to slaughter it.
The M50 is going to slaughter it. Then it has to go up against either the Reclaimer or the Vulture. What do we think about Reclaimer versus Vulture?
I'm going to be real. That one's harder.
Oh,
Both are great. Both are absolutely great ships. This is going to be my biggest turning point on it. I think the Vulture is going to win only because of future engineering and stuff with the Reclaimer. People aren't going to be able to solo it like they used to.
Yes. I think the only chance the Reclaimer has is the fact that it is the most aggressive money printer in the game right now.
Like, right now, if things were to stay as they are, Reclaimer 100%.
Yeah.
With multi-crew becoming a bigger thing, having to repair, engineer fires, and all this, the Vulture is going to appeal to a larger audience.
Yep, I agree. Once these, like, pain point systems come in, the Reclaimer is going to be a multi-crew ship through and through, and I'm hoping that its current money printer background stays with it a bit, because it's a capital ship designed to salvage, so it should theoretically make a ton more money.
Yeah. No, 100%.
So we think, if we're taking a wild guess here, we think M50 is going to slaughter the LX.
Yeah.
And then, so you think Vulture, I think Reclaimer.
I honestly think that's going to be a closer fight than a few of these.
I think that could be an even closer fight than today's 890-600i. Because by the standards of these competitions, 890-600i is a close fight. Within 500 of each other is tight.
I really think it's going to be an interesting take on the Reclaimer and Vulture here, because I genuinely think it's going to come down to knowledge. If you're in a group at all, like, and you have regular players, Reclaimer's a great choice. It's not even a question. But if we're talking about, if we cast up the people that solo salvage only and look at the future, the Vulture makes more sense, because the Reclaimer will be impossible to do by yourself.
Yep, I agree. So, regardless of these two, I think M50 here, Reclaimer or Vulture here, and then I think it'll be another close battle between the M50 and whichever one of these take it.
And honestly, I think, actually, that's the best way to put it. I think the heavy duty division is going to be groups versus solos.
Yep, it's gonna be solos versus multi-crew. The next one, I don't care.
Don't care any less. Would not care any less.
I think the Defender is going to take it. It's just been out longer.
Yeah, Defender. It's a fairly popular alien ship.
No, I don't have much to say because I'm not an alien ship person, and I don't think.
I'm sorry, I have taste.
Yeah, I don't think this bracket even matters, because one of these is going to win, but they're not going to get anywhere here.
I was say, guess what? It's competition below it. That's not even a fight.
Yeah,
that's not even.
Like it's not even worth.
Sorry, alien ship people. The F8 or F7.
Yeah, there's no competition.
Yeah.
And I think the F7, so we'll just jump straight to F8 and F7, because, like, well, alien lovers are going to hate us for just grazing right over. I genuinely don't think that either of those winning is going to matter. I think every other bracket, every ship that would move forward theoretically has a chance, except these two. I think these two are game over.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah. So moving on to the F8 and F7. Wow. Wow, is that a matchup? Anvil again with another
I would
two.
say you want. But I would say you want to talk about leaving a true boxing match to the last day.
Yeah, the
Holy
last day
shit.
around 1.
Like, I'm sorry, the F8 and F7. If it was any other combat ship against either of those, I would pick either of those.
Well, that's the
These
funny
two,
thing.
these two pitted against each other is
Well,
this is spicy.
because these two ships pitted against anything else except for each other would slaughter with no question. There is no other fighter in the game right now that could stand on the same podium that these two ships do.
100%. It's not even a competition. These guys are walking home with gold.
Yeah, like I don't even care which one wins. I'm going to be backing the F7C Mark II.
I 100% care for these.
Yeah, see, I think it's just going to be a fun battle to watch. I want to just watch the numbers.
No, I'm impartial to this one for, well, I guess partial for one reason for this. I love my F7 and I love my F8 dearly. I love both of them. I want the F8 to win so it gets a damn skin.
Yeah. Well, and so this is the funniest thing. Because today, I'm just going to scroll back up. The Origin Explorers and Explorer people are having to choose which of their children to put a shotgun to.
Yeah.
And for a second time, this... Actually, I'll say even a third. Because Anvil's got the underdogs. People have to choose which of their, children they want to take out back.
Yeah.
And, get rid of.
And the thing is, while the other two Anvil ships above are cool, they don't stand a chance against the two below.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, and this is the thing, because, F7 or F8 will take. There will be a paint for one of those ships. Regardless.
I genuinely think one of those has the opportunity to be the champion. 100%.
And genuinely speaking, I think for cost and just purely meta reasons, because they have put the F7C Hornet Mark II and the F7A together, I think the F7 has a ridiculously good chance.
That's fair as well. I honestly think it's a... If I had to say there's ever a 50-50 fight, I would say between the two Origin ships and those two are probably the two biggest 50-50 fights.
Yep, because it is very clearly owners of either ship are going to have to get on one or the other side of the fence. There is no fence sitting.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, I love both the F7 and F8. Either gets a skin, I'm cool with it. But I'm definitely in favor of the F8 because I want it to have some skin.
Well, so technically it does have a skin, but I would agree. I do want a nicer skin for the F8. The F7 has some nice skins.
So let me rephrase that. A skin that's obtainable without having to drop so much money.
Yep. No, I agree. I think the F8 needs a cooler skin. Because its current ones are not super cool.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love the F7C Mark II. I've had a conversation with a couple people in, I think, the last week. Actually, I had a conversation with our other host who could not join us. And it was that, the Hornet series went from one of my least favorite ships to one of my favorite ships, all because of the jump from the Mark 1 to Mark 2.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And and here's the thing: I understand the appeal of the old Hornets. The Mark II grabbed me. I was like, "Nah, that thing looks awesome."
I hated the look and the feel of the Mark 1. I don't know what it was, but I hated it. But the Mark II, one of my favorite ships. Yep, one of my favorite chips,
Work
hands down.
hard. And again, that's why I don't really care which one wins. I would prefer the F8, but if the F7 wins, I'm not going to be upset. It's a great, it deserves it.
No, I honestly, I agree. I could go either way. Either way, with this one, I could be happy. I will be backing the F7C, though. So it'll pit you and I against each other.
But that is the thing I really do like about the ship showdown is there's actually a lot of good options. Not talking about you, Alien Division. You stay down there. It's okay.
Stay out. Not you.
We're not talking about you.
Not you, Seamus. Not you.
But no, there's some pretty good lineups here, and there is, even though some have gotten slaughtered. Sorry, STV. The Nursa is still a great thing to have there. It's a great vehicle.
Well, and I think so. I'm gonna pipe dream here, as far as like what my fantasy bracket is here.
Before you finish that, is it the top four ships?
So this anything that's in the semis.
Okay.
So I'm gonna pipe dream here. So this C1 Spirit versus Ursa Medevac. I think the Medevac's taking it. I genuinely think the Medevac will take it.
I would love to see the Medevac win. I would.
And then here, obviously, 600i is going to take it. And then I think 600i is going to take this box.
Yep. No, I'd have to agree. Which is partially a shame, because again, the Terrapin and Gladiator are great ships, but sadly, 600i gang loves their 600i.
It is a titan of ship showdown. So, like, I think you'll get up to here with Nursa versus 600i, and I don't want to, like, okay, it's going to sound shitty. I don't want it to be the case, but the 600i is going to slaughter the Nursa.
I was say I have to agree, but I would love if there's someone. I'm a 600i owner still. I'm also a Medevac owner. I want to see the Nursa win.
Yeah, I don't think it's plausible. But that said, Nursa and 600i, by the time they're fighting, both of them will have a paint.
100%.
I feel bad. The Gladiator and the Terrapin, I don't think are going to pass that 600i fight. The M50 is gonna get to round 2. I don't know if it's gonna win versus Reclaimer or Vulture. I think the M50 will get smoked by the Vulture. Here,
yeah, I honestly either of the heavy duty ships I think are gonna win.
Yep, and I think realistically up here in the finals, you're gonna have 600 versus Nursa, and what I want to say is M50 versus F8 Lightning. But it will probably be Vulture versus F8 Lightning or F7C.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't surprise me at all. And honestly, the next one over from what the ones we're currently at, I honestly think the fight is genuinely more of F8 or F7 versus Vulture Reclaimer.
Yeah, because I don't think the M50 can take out Reclaimer or Vulture. It's got such a strong community. Like, the racing community is very, very, very hell-bent, but they're not big enough.
Yeah, no. And I get it. Like, we've done racing stuff before. It's a blast. It's fun, but it is not a central way of life in the game.
No, and, like, that's the big thing. The racing ships have such a niche, and regardless of if that niche is going to be able to push it, it can't push it all the way.
Racing in this game is literally a hobby within the game.
Well, for some people. For some people, it's the whole game. Like, you should see how feral the racing community is over the M50 taking it.
I don't blame them. It is fun to do, and I'm sure there's some insane pilots out there with racing.
The idea that the M50 could take it. It is fueling a fire in the depths of this community that probably will not push it to the top.
I would say that comes out as one loud squeak.
It's gonna be a bang. It'll go out in more than a squeak. You ever get low flied by an F-14? It's gonna be that sound.
There you go.
Your ears are gonna be bleeding, but like I don't think it's going very far beyond that.
Nope.
Yeah, it'll be a shout.
No,
but heavy duty has it.
I honestly think the end is either going to be and honestly, I'm gonna put it in these three groups. I think it's gonna be the Nursa, the 600i, and one of the fighters.
Yep.
I think those are the three that I think have the highest chance of making it to the end.
Yep. So I think Nursa, Nursa, 600, probably Vulture. It could be Reclaimer. I would love to see M50, but I doubt it. And then down here is going to be one of those two fighters.
Yep, 100%.
And I'm not putting any money in on this year because in past years we've had some. We've had some stuff, but this year, I'm genuinely biting my nails.
This year's interesting. The past couple of years have kind of been almost whatever. Like it felt stacked. This one actually has some real competition. And
I don't think any of the brackets... Well, again, this is my thing. I don't think any of the brackets, except for Alien, are...
What division? Who?
Yeah, right? That one. I don't think any of them are in a spot where, like, even in round 2, where things are going to be impossible for a certain ship. Yeah. I think the most difficult round in round 2, like the farthest apart, is going to be Heavy Duty versus Speed Demon champions.
Yeah.
Because I think, well, this is the thing that'll be weird. I think the M50, if it's going to win, will run away with it immediately, or it's going to get trounced immediately. There is no in between.
Mm.
In racing fashion, it'll take off, or like in salvage fashion, it will get salvaged. It'll be a nice little snack for the Reclaimer and Vulture.
Basically, yeah.
No. Oh, poor Alien bracket.
I'm sorry, little one.
Yeah, like... Oh, that is such a sad bracket to look at. Like, it is...
Funny, though, I wish I could feel bad, but I hate the alien ship so much that I don't care.
I don't like either of these. I've tried to fly them, and, like... The Banner Defender is the weird crab that can be flown from either cockpit. And the Sulian just makes me very uncomfortable.
Again, Xenos scum.
Xeno trash. Yep. And, like, the alien bracket needed to be here, but neither of those ships, realistically, were going into this competition. All of the other ships, you could have expected.
All these other ships, V8 engines. The alien ships, 100cc.
Yeah, like a little two-stroke.
Just, you go, little guy. You can do it, and he's gone.
It's the dad who's just taken the training wheels off his kid's bike, and he's pushed him down the hill. Yeah. Like, and you know, based on every video you've seen, every time anything like that's happened, that kid is ending up in the ditch.
100%.
But, hey, it is what it is. And I think we have some really nail-biting battles to come on, or to keep going with.
Oh yeah. No, I think the later ones are going to be exciting.
Well, so let's do some math, or I guess some counting. Because that's today, that's tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
So we just gotta really wait a week till we get to some more juicy stuff.
Yep. So this time next week we will be watching probably the 600i go up against what I assume will be the Terrapin.
Mm-hmm.
And we already will know if the Ursa medevac has slammed the C1 or if the C1 slammed the Ursa.
It's gonna be interesting.
I'm very intrigued. I'm extremely intrigued.
I'll say I've never actually been, as into a ship showdown as this one. This one has some good ones.
I'm so intrigued. I'm very much looking forward to whatever happens because it's gonna be spicy.
Mm-hmm.
That said, we're 7 minutes over the end of our show, and we started early, so this is probably the time of night to say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining.
We will see you guys all next week with oh my goodness, with some updates. We'll know next Saturday. Obviously, we'll know who won of all the round ones, and then we will see if obviously the C1 and the Ursa medevac. See who dukes it out and does it better.
Yes, we will.
Alrighty. We're gonna hit that fancy button that says we go sleep now.
Adios, amigos.